Hi, and welcome back to The Crafty Author. My name is Anissa. I am the Crafty Author, and welcome to my quilting room. So, today we are going to continue working on our Scraptastic scrap quilt. And we have the front part completely pieced, and now we're going to do the backing. So, I have already started working on the backing of the quilt, which it looks really cool, I do have to say. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did to achieve that look so far. But I'm also going to show you the Sawtooth Star quilt that I had originally worked on and did kind of a similar background, but not exactly. So I did incorporate some scraps on the back of that quilt, but it is not 100% scrap back. So I'm just going to show you that quilt so you get the basic idea here, and then I'll talk to you some more about the rest of what we're going to work on. So let's get into this. Okay, so for those of you who were not involved in the Sawtooth Star quilt sew-along, this is what that quilt looks like. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it. It's an absolutely gorgeous quilt. It's my favorite quilt. As a matter of fact, I sleep with this quilt. So, but what I did was on the back, as you can see, I created these pinwheels, and they are in all four corners of this quilt. See if you can see them all. This is a very big quilt. So that is kind of what I'm going for with this quilt, but not exactly. So the backing of this quilt is going to be more scrappy. Originally, I was going to use more scraps that I have, but then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if it was scrappy but had the ability to be reversible? So I really wanted it to look really cool. I wanted it to look very nice. So what I did, and I will walk you through this, isn't that neat looking? I had a jelly roll that was just in my stash. So I just went through my stash. Now, you don't have to use a jelly roll. If you want to cut strips from scraps, or if you want to cut, if you want to do it in larger squares, I don't care. It's your quilt. You can do it however you want to do this. Okay. So what I mean by that is, I mean, if you have a square, if you have like a layer cake, or you have charm squares and you would rather use that instead of doing something like this with strips and to continue sewing, that's fine. You don't have to do this. So, but you'll get the general idea of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do this. So if you're going to follow along with me and do it exactly as I'm doing it, you're going to need strips. And like I said, I just pulled an old jelly roll that I picked up from Joann's. I don't know how long ago. This is probably 5 years old, to be perfectly honest. But I need to use it up. Anyway, I am rambling. I need to get on it. So there's a bunch of different fabrics that came in this jelly roll, which is really cool for what I needed. So I just made these blocks. So what I did was I sewed strips, 3 strips together, and then I cut them using my, I don't know where it went. Oh, it's right here. It's a 6.5 inch square. So I used that, and I just laid it on top after I had the 3 strips sewn together, and I just cut to make this a 6.5 inch block. That's all I did. All right. Then I took our leftover 2x9 strips. I got asked a lot of questions about these 2x9 strips and why did we have them left over. And this is why we had them left over, because we use them to border the blocks for the background. whether you're working with strips or you're working with a charm square, or you've cut your layer cake down to 6.5 inches and you're going to border your block like this. It doesn't matter. That's what we're going to use these for. Okay, so that's what we have those for. That's what we're going to do with the extras. So I went ahead and made this block doing that. I turn this camera around and show you what it looks like with the strips. You're going to love it. You really are. And I want you to also not be concerned because we are going to border this. We will border this backing as well. Just like we bordered the front of the quilt, we're going to border the back. Okay. So for this week, we're just getting our blocks together. All right. And I apologize. My heater just kicked on. And so that's the loud noise that you're hearing in the background, but it is snowing, so we need heat. Anyway, this is what I have put together. Now, I used some of that jelly roll. I used our leftover 2x9 strips, and I have started the top piece of our backing fabric. So here I have chosen the 3 next fabrics that I'm going to use. I like to use one that has some of this silver bling in it. There's an up close photo of it here. So right there. And then the other 2, this one has some of that silvering in it as well, but I think I like it the way I have it laid out. So what I've done is I've ironed these jelly roll strips in half. I just ironed them in half, okay? It's easier to work for me with them when they're a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut right there on that fold. This one is backwards. Like I said, I've already pressed these and everything is good to go. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my top piece here and my center piece, and I'm going to put them right sides facing each other. And I am going to grab my quilt clips. Now, I am not much of a pinner or a clipper, but I will say when working with jelly roll strips, sometimes clipping them makes it easier because they can move and stretch. So that's why you're seeing me clip, to keep it from moving around on me when I sew. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to put this one up here, and then I will take this one with me to the sewing machine so that I can add it once I have this one sewed. I am using 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch seam, and let's just go ahead and do it. Okay, so now I'm at my rotating cutting mat, and I really like my rotating cutting mat for this. If you don't have one, that's okay. It's not a necessity, but I'm just going to cut off this messy edge over here on the side, and then what I will do is I will bring over my 6.5 inch square. Now remember, if you don't have a 6.5 inch square, that's okay. You don't have to have the square, but you do have to have a ruler that you can measure that out on. So I have gone ahead and just measured that on my square already. And so right now, I am just going to trim the top, and then I'm going to also trim my bottom. And I have something that looks very much like this. All right, I'm also going to show you how to cut this in case you don't have a 6.5 inch square ruler, and you're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So you're going to line up on one of your lines, and you're just going to come over here and count 6.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 here on your mat. You'll take your straight ruler on that 6.5 line there. You're going to cut the excess off. Come over, do the same thing. So now you know you've already got this half here. You're just going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This looks really good, really squared up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. That looks good. Same here. This is the half. We can measure it, make sure. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. That one. Oh no. That one needs to be squared up. Okay. Now it's good. Looks really good. I just want to make sure that we're right here. We are. Okay, good. All right. So now we're going to put the border, the white border with our strips that we had left over, those 2 by 9 inch strips. We're going to put one on each side. Okay. So I'm just going to take one of those strips and put it here. And I'm just going to sew straight down using the 1/4 inch seam. And I'm just going to trim this off right here. And I'm going to finger press, and I'm just going to finger press out. I'm going to take another strip because you want to do this on all 4 corners. Okay, so here's the alternative to putting the border around the block. So if you're not comfortable with just taking a guess at it, you'll sew on your 2 sides. And then you'll go and you'll press these, and then we will trim that. You'll want to take a small ruler. You're going to want to line your 1 inch mark right here. Right there, you're going to line this 1 inch on your seam line right there. And then you're going to take your rotary cutter, and you're going to trim that off. And then you're going to do the same thing to the other side. You're just gonna find that 1 inch, line up right here on that seam, and trim. So I recommend doing that because it'll save you a lot of headaches. And then you're just gonna put your other piece on and sew. So you're probably going to want a chain piece and make sure that you put on all your sides before you continue to do the rest of the sewing. Because you don't want to be getting up and down all the time to go press. Unless you like to do that, then you can, but it can get a little daunting at times. And now your block looks like this, and you want to go press these two that we just sewed on. We're going to press those, and we're going to trim those down to 1 inch, just like we did these. Okay, so this is what we have. So you can see I've trimmed all the way around. These are all 1 inches now. So that's what you'll need to do. Trim all your blocks, that border to 1 inch. And I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to finish doing my blocks. But your homework for this week is to make these blocks. So get these done. You will need 20 of these. All right. These blocks will finish at 8 by 8. Okay, so I did want to mention that I did actually indeed run out of the white fabric to go around my squares. So you probably won't have enough to do all 4 sides for your block. So you will need to cut some extra fabric. It won't matter if it matches or not. As you can see, mine does not. You can see I have the polka dots on 3 sides, and then up top I have a different white. So it won't matter. So if you do run out, you may not, but if you do, that's how you kind of get around it. You just find something else to substitute with it and go from there. I just had some extra scrap, and I did end up also using the scrap from the border that I had cut from the white border. So I did have to tap into that as well. So I mostly had that. I think I only needed to have a couple. I think I only needed like 3 extra of a different white. So it should go and last you a lot. But I just wanted to let you know that you might run out of that white. And if you do, don't freak out. It's okay. Another thing that I did realize that happened to me because even though I'm not showing you the quilt wall because it has a lot of the blocks already done, in my jelly roll, there wasn't enough fabric in there either. So I had to improvise with that as well. And so I will be showing you that one in the next video on how I improvised, and it still turned out amazing. So just focus for this week on the block, just on these blocks. Whatever you're going to do with these, just focus on getting these done. You need 20 of them. And so yeah, and we're going to have 4 rows. So you need 20 blocks and we'll have 4 rows. And I will be showing you what we're going to do next. And I'm super excited about it. So get your blocks done. So, but I'm finding that I really do like this jelly roll. I wasn't sure that I would. I didn't really care for the patterns that were in it or even the color, to be honest. And wow. After looking at that on my quilt wall, I'm kind of amazed by it, you know. So see what you can come up with. And if you're in my Facebook group, if you're in the Crafty Author Facebook group, make sure that you're sharing pictures of your progress along the way. I'd love to see what kind of fabrics you guys are using. So that'd be awesome. So yeah. So that's it for me today. If you would like to follow me on social media, the links are down below in this description box. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to share it, that's great because sharing is caring. Don't forget to click that little bell. You'll get notified each and every time that I upload an awesomely cool new video. And keep on crafting. I'll see you guys next time. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.